so I'm not very low trim, just.
So easier to maintain and keep up in good shape and good paint going on it?
Yeah.
Okay. That's all I have.
Okay. All right, entertain a motion.
Make a motion to approve.
Are there three motions?
Yeah, the first one.
I'll entertain a motion on first
This would be to accept the dedication of the easement.
of the easement.
So,
Second,
Second.
public comment?
Move caught up?
Yeah. Mr. Tim?
Okay.
We're gonna do public comment once for the next three items, because they've all been heard at this point.
Okay. No, I hope everybody paid attention as they looked at the property along 6th Avenue South where the stores are going to be, and then it rises 3 stories. Remind you of the Lucerne, it does me, because it goes straight up in the air, blocking everybody. The grass plot would be our sidewalk, and there goes the building up. And if you look at F Street and look down there from the corner and you see down that block, it looks exactly as Mr. John said, that just like the buildings on Federal Highway, that nobody likes, and we're not going to allow any more of those. What are we doing? I understand they just said they're a non-for-profit. If that's the case, we get no ad valorem taxes from this property at all. What are we cutting ourselves into? Thank you.
Thank you. Loretta Sharp?
Sharp, 1311 South Conway. I'm not going to talk so much about the project as I'm going to talk about what you should be asking for. I can't believe the planning board did not make one of the considerations that they have an on-site manager 24 hours a day. We did that when I was on the planning board, on the properties on B Street. They had to have an on-site manager 24 hours a day. And I think you should be asking, are they going to hire local people to build this project on 6th Avenue? Are they going to hire the people that live in the city of Lake Worth to build it? That's a question that the commission should be asking. I'm not thrilled with more rentals in Lake Worth, but I don't know what you put on the corner. I hope that the CRA with this land trust owns the land for a long, long time and can't sell it, and will be responsible to the people in the neighborhood, because they've done a beautiful job on 6th Avenue. And I hate to see this turn into Section 8 housing, as where on A Street has turned. There were condos that were apartments turned into condos sold at $120 to $130, and now you can't get $6,000 for them. And it's all Section 8 housing. We have way too much rentals in Lake Worth. If these people think they can build a rental project there, they can control who lives in it, and they can make it for my neighborhood, and they can pay taxes. I'm all for this project. If they can't do that, ask the right questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. McWay?
I do have some questions. I have no objection if the rest of you feel the same way of allowing the group here to answer some of the questions that were raised. I think that would be helpful.
You've spent, Michael Weiner, Director, you've spent a long time with us. As a result of public comment, you want us to answer specific questions, we're happy to do so. First of all, just because a nonprofit is one of the co-owners does not mean that it does not pay taxes. It would have to be for a nonprofit purpose. That's not what it's there for. It's residential property, it's an apartment, and therefore it's not on their books. Okay. Alan?
Okay, my name is Alan Schneer, and I'm principal in Realtech Development Southeast. First of all, I want to thank Mayor and Commissioners for having us here tonight. And before I move any further, I also want to take this opportunity, because being someone who worked in government for the first 12 years of my professional career, I have to say you have some of the finest staff that I have dealt with. Joan and her staff have just been marvelous through this whole process. William and his staff have been phenomenal through this whole process. I am so pleased as a taxpayer in this county for 30-plus years to be associated with fine working professionals. It's a tribute to this city. Regarding real estate tax, I am one of your biggest advocates to have real estate taxes on all your property, because here we are as a private for-profit developer, here we are as a private for-profit developer who stated emphatically in our response that we will pay real estate taxes as long as this property is in our ownership and the Community Land Trust's ownership. Now, we have an obligation to our investors that are investing about $4.2 million in what's called tax-defined low-income housing tax credits. And I hate that term, low-income housing tax credits. And just for edification, I was on the original committee in 1986 that helped create the tax credit program, and we always advocated the name should have been the Affordable Housing Tax Credit Program, but our congressmen and senators would not hear of an affordable housing tax credit program. It was not easy to sell to constituency out there as affordable housing. Low-income monkeyer gets people interested. But the program was never geared, and I will say this again because I want everyone to look it up that has these concerns. It was always geared for a true public-private partnership. Public sector providing the incentives through the tax code. This is not HUD money. Let me repeat, the tax credits is not HUD money. The only money we are receiving as public assistance right now is from the NSP2 program. So this is not HUD money. We don't fall under HUD guidelines. We are not Section 8. We are for the working poor in this community, and there is a need that is so strong in this community for school teachers, for policemen, for firemen, for social workers, for secretaries, for workers that need affordable housing for the next generation. Rentals will be in demand because of what happened in the mid-2000s, as we all know. And that's why the NSP2 program was created. I apologize for taking up too much of your time, but you know we will be paying real estate taxes.
Thank you. We've got a motion on the floor and a second on the first item. All those in favor? Oh, sorry. Commissioner McBoyd?
Yeah. I am in fact familiar with the buildings that Ms. Sharp raised a concern about on the 18th Avenue of A Street. And I've also spoken with PBSO about those buildings, and they're quite familiar with them. My understanding, although that's shakier, I'm more familiar with the current condition, but my understanding is that was built as a private project and apartment complex. For whatever reason, it kind of has gone a different direction. And my question would be to this group is, what are the mechanisms in place? One of them has been proposed, have a manager on site 24 hours. Well, that might or might not do it. But what are the mechanisms, the feedbacks that give the owners or the operators an incentive to make sure that 20 years from now, 10 years from now, 25 years, we aren't, some group of people up here isn't sitting saying, boy, I wish we hadn't done that.
Okay, it's called recapture. We have certain guidelines that we must follow from the federal government, the tax code, and from Florida Housing Finance Corporation, that's the agent on behalf of the IRS in implementing. So we have to comply with income guidelines. We do background checks, we do criminal checks. We check their former, look where they live, with their employer. We cannot, because we have to report every single year to our investors and to Florida Housing. We have to go through a compliance review. We cannot have anyone in that property that's going to face it. And in fact, the first meeting we had after our community meeting was with the Public Safety Office to find out where we need to put video cameras, to be part of our process, to meet with us so we can ensure safety of the community. That is one of our primary objectives. other than providing housing, but to have safe housing so children can feel safe, mothers, fathers can feel safe walking around in the community. So we know what you're saying, Commissioner McVoy, and we have to, because of the codes, when we are following, we must do background checks on our tenants. Also, each tenant stays in that property, their income could go up to 140% of the area median income. So let's say that same family starts in and they're making 54% of the area median income, or about $38,000, but over the next 15, 20 years, they raise their family, that income level goes up. We don't evict them, they stay. As long as they're paying their rent, they stay. So we could go up to 140%, which is about $86,000 roughly, maybe a little bit more.
May I interrupt you for a second? First of all, I just want to go back. Mr. Waters, we're only approving here on this item, dedication of an easement, grant of a density bonus, and approve the community appearance. Is that not correct?
That's right.
This project has already been approved, is it not correct?
Yes.
It has already been vetted through planning and zoning and all the other departments applicable. I've left some amount of discussion here just because not everybody was up to speed on this project, but I just want to remind our commission that we're here to vote on three things. The item that we're voting on right now is a dedication of an easement. Up next will be the grant of a density bonus, and then approval of a community appearance criteria. I would just like us, we've had quite a bit of conversation, and I appreciate it because it's been good knowledge for everybody, and we have a large audience here tonight, but I'd like to move forward with what's actually on the agenda. We have a motion on the floor and a second on the first item. All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? Did you vote?
Aye.
It's the dedication of easement. Okay. Motion carries unanimously. We've got an entertain a motion on the grant of a density bonus, please.
So moved.
Do I have a second? All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? Motion carries unanimously. And approval of the community appearance criteria. Do I have a motion? Do I have a second? All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.